I have the peanut gallery turned on.
Okay.
Okay, we're
Yeah,
live.
so you're calling in.
We're live. So until I click you guys on, they won't hear you. So start asking everybody who's here on the chat, the audience.
Yeah, hello everyone. Glad you can join us. Let's see who's here. We have a little text box right there to your right. Why don't we everyone introduce yourselves? We have a special guest today, as you know, that's why you signed up. My very, very good friend, Tim Tactics, is joining us. It's a very exciting day. Hi, Valerie. And we're going to be going over some sensitive information that's in the news. And of course, some really pertinent information that Tim's going to be talking to us about a recent visit with the Grays and that message. So, Tim, no introduction needed because everyone already knows who we are and who you are. Tim Tactics, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Emery. Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for having me and inviting me.
So we're going to hold the questions off probably until the end, but we want to welcome everyone. I see Valerie, Kathy, Margot, Carolyn, Lee, Omar, Daniela, Matthew, Kathy. So welcome. Tim, first of all, just update us. How are you doing? And what's your status nowadays there?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. As you can see, it's a new background. You've seen that background. It's going to be turned. Thank you so much. It's real stone. I don't see myself anymore. Where am I?
Yeah, I don't see myself. What happened?
Oh, there we go. There we go. So it's going to be a new background. Now we switch sides. It's okay. So so it's real stone. People keep asking. Guys, anyway, it's gonna be fun tonight. Few serious notes too, and some important news that everyone needs to hear. That's the reason why we call it classified. Some of the stuff we are going to talk about, we can't talk about or should not talk about on public social media. That is the reason why Emery and I are doing this webinar with you live.
Absolutely. Well, we have a lot of questions coming on already, but we're going to tell our stories first and get you up to date about all the stuff that's going on. And then we're going to answer some of your questions. And so keep those questions going, and we'll definitely get back to them or hold them for at the end of near the end of the show. You guys for a couple hours here. So we're all very excited to see all the newbies and also all the long distance runners that have been with us for a very long time. So I think, Tim, you've been doing a lot of other podcasts and, you just got off another show just a few minutes ago, and you told me you had a question about the Miami incident.
Oh my goodness. I received tons and tons of messages on social media asking me if I had intel. The US is somewhat out of my reach sometimes, so I know I don't have any intel on what happened. But I said in my story yesterday, so everyone who joined us because of that story yesterday on social media, Instagram, I told everyone that today we have Emery Smith, and I'm going to ask you, I promised them. So I'm very curious. I know you have some information, so go ahead, Emery.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, this is definitely, I was notified within a couple hours right after the event of what was assumingly these things that were happening, because and you guys know this from listening to me on Cosmic Disclosure, there's my firsthand information, okay, that I know is true. Then there's secondhand information. And then if you've been following David Gersh and all the whistleblowers, there's like third-hand information where, well, I work for someone, they said this, so it's very, I'm very skeptical about those kind of things. Now, there was an incident January 2nd, if you didn't know about, of hundreds and hundreds of police cars arriving to the Miami Bay Area Mall. and all we knew is that the mall was surrounded, and they cut the power. They cut all the police scanners, which is very interesting, and shut the electric off for 6 blocks, and grounded all aircraft coming in and out of Miami for that short time. And there was apparently Black Hawk helicopters. They said black police helicopters, but it was more like Black Hawk helicopters. So just so we all know, first, second, and third hand information as follows. I have so many friends in Miami, number one, and I know people on special units over there. And as far as
you lived there too, right, Emery?
Yeah, I live just an hour and a half from there, across on the other coast in Fort Myers and Naples, Florida. So many of you are familiar with that, and Sanibel Island. So it's just an hour and a half across Alligator Alley, and I'm there. But I spent a lot of time there. I worked there. Like I said, I have a lot of friends over there that live on that whole coast and Miami. And they were telling me, because I called them, I was like, what's going on? They're like, we're hearing about it too, but none of my friends had firsthand information, which means they were not there at that time. But they did have family members that were special police officer units and SWAT team and stuff. And the story was that the cops were giving out, and they're still giving it out to this day, is that there was a group of teenagers and another group of teenagers, and they got in a fight inside the mall, and they were lighting off fireworks in the mall and fighting, possibly with sticks.
And they had sticks.
And possibly had sticks. And so they went into, all these cops. But, if you look at the videos, they are, it seems like a 9/11 terrorist attack. I mean, I've never seen that much police force over a couple kids, fighting over whatever they were fighting over. And then the story started coming out that there's 2, 7 to 10 foot tall creatures. And there was many people on the ground that were interviewed by bloggers that said, yeah, and people were running out. So the closed caption TVs was getting hordes of people running out of this, out of this mall. And I was thinking, what could have, if it was extraterrestrials, number one, they accidentally, here's the scenarios. One of the scenarios is, okay, maybe they accidentally portaled in, because it happens. We've had this happen many times before in the projects, and not even on the projects, where people went into a portal. And I know David and Darren and I have talked about this mother and son that accidentally went through a portal that was in his closet, and they wound up in Montreal, Canada. And so these portals kind of open up now and then, and maybe these creatures came through, or these ETs came through a portal and just happened to be, in this mall area, and then they're just kind of walking around. Now, they said there was gunshots, but they don't know if it was gunshots or fireworks. No one was reported killed. So that's another really interesting thing. People are now, I think, embellishing, bastardizing this online, because everyone wants a good bunch of hits on their YouTube or their Instagram. And I watched it just, go from the truth for the first couple hours of the incident to like batshit crazy. They're landed, there's people out there, and there's aliens that look like the 1984 movie Aliens, and, all these, just crazy, horrific comments that, yeah, maybe it could have been. Now, that kind of presence, what was interesting is all the police scanners went off. All the electric went off. Now, that is a sign of extraterrestrial intelligence. So many times when ETs do come, in existence and want to be known or seen, for their protection, they do jam everything. So even if you have a camera, and that was the other thing, all the cameras there, they had so many cameras, so many cell phones, why didn't anyone get anything? Well, maybe people were filming, but they have the ability to definitely erase the phone and freeze your phone up. So you might think you've been recording. I've actually recorded crap just with my phone, and everyone saw it recording. And also special military aircraft, I'll say. And you try to play it back, and it's not there. So we
black, right?
have technologies. What was that?
I
Yeah.
said I
Yeah.
had the same thing. It turned out black. The video is black after
Yeah.
that, right?
It's either black or it's not there. And you're like, there's no way, you filmed this whole thing for this astonishing, visitation and there's nothing there. And that happens a lot because it's not safe for them or it's not safe for whatever the government's doing.
So it's
So
just
they're
elaborate on that, Emery. Is that is a mall and it has surveillance cameras? And can you tell us what does it mean if police have scanners in the U.S. like the body
So
cams?
scanners are the police radios. Okay, you can go out here in the United States and buy a police scanner, and on the police scanner are all the cops transmissions, the police, the SWAT team, the ambulance, the EMTs, all emergency services. So you can tune in to any one of these frequencies with your scanner that you bought for $100 off of the internet, $200. And you can listen in. And a lot of people have these in the car and they'd like to find out what's going on and show up and take pictures, or they'd like to report. A lot of reporters have these. A lot of nosy people just want to have it. And a lot of criminals want to have it to know where the cops are at certain given times. So a scanner allows a regular civilian to listen in and figure out, for the people that are not from the United States listening to this, where, what's going on. And there was this scanner blockage, so civilians couldn't transmit.
Wow.
And I don't even know if the cops could transmit to each other, because by looking at a lot of the videos I reviewed, they all kind of just pulled up and stayed there and kind of was waiting. Like, there's so many cops. You didn't see a lot of cops jumping out of the cars running after things. There was a video that someone was showing that they're zooming in. It looks like this giant 10-foot tall creature like walking by the headlights of these cars. I don't know, could have been a shadow. I could debunk that, but anything is possible. So I'm not saying it didn't happen. All I'm saying is there's many different scenarios. So that's one scenario. The second scenario is that they wanted to get everyone's attention somewhere else. So people that were watching were listening, and make this big scene and say, hey, look over here, because we don't want you looking over there. And this happens a lot here in the United States, where like 9/11 was one of those things. It just happened to happen after the disclosure conference, a couple months later, because they didn't want to have to answer the people, about extraterrestrials, the big disclosure conference with Stephen Greer. So this is a big distraction too, with smaller things. Maybe they had an important craft that they had to deliver into a nearby airport, and they didn't want, they had to close the airport for a little bit. So there's many different types of scenarios that would make me believe, well, this could have been a cover up or something. The thing is, there are family members of the cops and the police officers and all the teams out there that, they are asking their loved ones, like, what the fuck happened? You got to tell me. And they're saying, well, I can't talk about it right now, but it'll be out in the news, probably in a couple of weeks or something. So that's really compelling that if you came home, if I came home and told Darla, oh, I can't talk about it, she'd probably hit me in the head, with a wet sponge or something. And that's a joke. Probably like a baseball bat or a stun gun. She likes stun guns. So, you don't, because we have that open kind of, trust about talking about whatever we want to talk about. And, so it's kind of weird that, there's also this friction now, and families going, wow, man, this is the first time you told me I couldn't ask you things. And so it's getting pretty deep, but, it's going to slip up, and definitely the truth's going to come out. So it is definitely possible that these beings had interdimensionally or somehow walked through a portal and were there, or maybe it was definitely like a hoax. Like, instead of doing a, let's say, instead of having a sighting or someone getting abducted, a staged abduction or a staged sighting, this could have been an elaborate staged sighting, because all you need is, a few hundred people to see something like that, and they're not going to ever forget it. I don't care how many times they try to mind erase people. The interesting thing is, they're not releasing any of the footage. and they made sure that all the footage, by the way, all the closed caption cameras, all the stuff they have is run off batteries, and it's all done with batteries and satellites, so everybody knows. Sorry, put that down, Darla, before you hurt somebody. And the thing is, that stuff is recorded somewhere. That's illegal over in Portugal there. So all I'm saying is that is definitely recorded somewhere. I'm very surprised that someone hasn't been able to leak it out, that even something. But if their cameras were blocked, like Tim and I were talking about, which they can do, and extraterrestrials are definitely known for this, for their anonymity, and just to make sure that it doesn't get portrayed in a really terrible way, like it is being portrayed, because they're already saying, oh, people were shooting at the aliens, to protect themselves, and they try to say, oh, now it's fireworks. No, it was just fireworks. Nobody was shooting. But if you look at those videos online, and the media is not really talking about it, which is a huge number one. The media should address it and say, this is this. They did come on a little bit in Miami and say, oh, some kids were fighting, but they downplayed it. And now, unfortunately, they have police officers coming on Instagram and on social networking, real police officers, but not doing a professional sit down like from the city of Miami. They're just sitting there holding the camera, doing a selfie, going, you guys need to stop all this stuff because there was no aliens there. That's just, and they start talking, which is the worst thing they should have done, which is a disinformation campaign. Because once you have a person, with a badge that's sworn in to say the truth, and they're saying stuff, and any terrorist negotiator out there, and all you terrorist negotiators that are out there like myself, we know the art of deception like the back of the hand. You can't lie to me, ask Darla, no one can lie to me. And I can't lie to anyone, especially those terrorist negotiators, because it shows all over the face. So he had about a couple of these guys and girls, they had about 19, 20 different signs of deception that they were lying while they were saying, don't fall for that. You guys are embellishing. There's no aliens. But the way they did it was more damaging than they could really realize. Because so many people, not even just the terrorist negotiators like myself, but people out there that are very psychic and in tune, like most of the people on this show right now, you guys know when someone's bullshitting, or else you definitely wouldn't be, on this show, because a true speaker when you hear and see one, because you listen with the heart, not with the head. And I think that goes for a lot of people out there that, are noticing that the government and the media are covering all these amazing things up, because I have calls all the time that things like this that happen in Miami actually get out from other cities, but they're still covering it up. But we never hear about it on the news, because they're really good at covering it up, especially when it's government related and to hide extraterrestrial technology and to hide extraterrestrial existence. They want to do it on their own soft disclosure. They want to make sure that when they do it, that it's on their terms, and to do it either in an embellished or untrue way, or some way that they just have to get it out, because regardless, they're coming, and it is coming. And yes, Darla, put your little stun gun collection away. That's for another show, remember? That's the after hour show, Darla. Okay. So I have to apologize for Darla.
Wild, guys.
She's out of control.
She needs a big one.
Kathy, yes. Okay.
Kathy wants a big one.
Kathy says she needs a big one. All right. Okay. All right. Answer that in the audience thing, Darla. Okay. So what we're getting at here, Tim, at least it's comic relief for you. What we're getting at here is, yeah, the media is lying. Yes, we know there's some deception going on. What really happened is not being released yet. I am going to make some calls actually after this show to some very higher ups to find that out. And I will definitely let you know, Tim, and everyone on here. I'll do maybe we'll do a podcast with you, Tim, in the following days to let you know the true update when I get my security people with the government and international government to tell me what happened.
Yeah, I would love that, and people in the community will love that too, because we had thousands of people tuning into the podcast, and they were enjoying that very much. So something that I'm thinking of is like, we know there are compartmentalized different sectors of the military, and then we have ordinary, police force and military people. This is funny. Outside, there's like a police car
Scanner?
going by. Isn't that
Oh,
wild? The
oh,
universe is
oh,
working
I
like
gotcha. I
that.
see what you're saying.
I was
Okay.
like, what? What's that? Okay, anyway, like sound effects while I'm speaking. I've never dreamed of that. So, thing about this is like, if we go back to the Nimitz event, if we go back to Tic
Yes.
Tac, etc., right? We have these
Yes.
moments where staged things happen, where we see that there are, UFOs in the air that are not actually, alien, but they are re-engineered human crafts. And then the
Right.
usual, or the normal Navy is being tricked into believing that it's, wow, my gosh, these things are fast. They are probably ET. And then the Pentagon releases these videos and talks about them. But in reality, it was like a human fake incident. So
Yeah,
do you think?
we call them ARVs, alien reproduction vehicles. Yeah.
Right, right. But also the occurrence, the event itself was a staged
Yes.
event that humans have
Staged
done
event.
to, right, to other humans, to their own military in some kind of way, because they are related, right? It's an advanced US military doing that to a less advanced US Navy, and tricking them into believing that it happened. What do you think? Like, because to me, like, there's no more ridiculous thing, and you were right, by saying, teleportation can happen, and by any chance it is possible, it can happen that they just randomly chose a Miami mall to appear, right? It can
Well,
happen.
it could malfunction though. What I meant, Tim, is they malfunction every now and then, and this has happened many times around the world where an extraterrestrial will just all of a sudden pop up in the Amazon. It's not always a mall, but it's just weird places that you wouldn't think. It's not like they're saying, "I want to go shopping with a sale at Miami Dade Mall there, Miami Bay Mall." No, it's not that. I think there was an accident, just like what happened here when the craft crashed. A few blocks down from my house here into the backyard of these people's homes. And, that was real. It was recorded on dozens of Ring cameras, dozens of car cameras, and dozens of cops' their own body cams. So they couldn't get away from this. And the NSA got involved, the FBI got involved. They had to move that family. They're under witness protection program now. So this was a real event, but that craft didn't, crash. The craft actually had a malfunction and landed, but it maybe looked like a crash. And then, they had these tall beings in their backyard, and the cameras from their neighbors caught it. Their cameras caught it, but that was all confiscated. And they were told, they got to keep their mouth shut about this. But, they did make that an elaborate story because it was very disinformed. Even the police officers all knew about this, and they were also, I have a lot of Las Vegas Police Department officers that are my friends, and other special units here, that this was a real thing that happened, and they're not allowed to talk about it for those who did turn in their body cams and people that were there or that were interviewed.
But it's a very
So it is
curious
a real
space,
thing that
right?
happens.
Yeah, but
What
it's
was
a very
that?
curious space. There's nothing in the world that says more American life than a mall. Maybe a football stadium, or a baseball stadium, right? So that these aliens just randomly, and it could have happened, but that they appear inside of you as mall, that seems to me like strongly giving away that it was like staged, as much as you said.
Yeah, no, the Las Vegas event was not staged. And even Richard Doty knows this. That was a real event, and these events, like I say, happen a lot, but they get it under control a lot faster. The thing is, everyone has a camera now. Every house has a camera. Every police officer has 2 cameras. So there's everything's camera, especially where I live here in Nevada. So there's cameras on every street light. The facial recognition is out the yin yang everywhere, and it's not just a matter of time till that's pretty much worldwide in every city, not just major cities but all cities. They're already installing cameras that do facial recognition through the car, through your tinted car, through your window at very long distances. And this is the new system here in Nevada, Las Vegas area, that if you speed anywhere, you're going to be getting ticketed and your license revoked if you don't pay it. And I was used to that when I lived in Europe and in Italy and Spain and all that, and even in Germany on the Autobahn and stuff. There's still areas you cannot speed. And I was borrowing one of my friend's cars for a couple of weeks, and I was, he had a nice BMW, and I was racing around like an idiot, not careless or anything. And then a month later, he calls me. He's like, "Emery, what the hell were you doing? I got $3,800 of tickets here." He goes, "Don't you know there's cameras on the Autobahn and on the speedways?" And I was like, "No, I didn't know." So that was many, many, many years ago. So now over here in the United States, they have these very scary facial recognition systems and of course, car license plate recognition systems that they know even who's driving the car. And that's just going to get even worse and worse as time comes. It's like that movie that was out there with, I think it was Tom Cruise. I forget what it was called. But where you can't go anywhere. Everyone knows where you're at every point. The AI is going to know where you're at. And that's going to be another scary incident. So, Tim, I have a question for you, of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're ready for it. We had a little discussion prior to this morning webinar, and I cannot wait to hear this story about the contact event that you had.
Yeah, oh my God.
With the Grays. Very, very recently, like a few days ago, I think.
A few days ago, it happened. Yeah. I did tell the story to a few members in the All Shift Happily Now community in the inner circle, and they got emotional. And it appears like a lot of people in the community had very recent encounters too, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I want to bring everyone on the same page of that.
Yes.
It never happened for years and years to me that I had like physical encounters in my private home space. It happened.
Wow.
It used to happen, right? It happened. These typical gray stories where you wake up and you suddenly have 2 or more grays inside of the bedroom just staring at you. These things happened to me, and in the projects in that time, it was very recent to have these different communications in the projects, and then sometimes at night too, or in the bedroom too. So,
sure.
Right? Stressful, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. It is. Yeah. No, really.
Yeah, I mean, they know. So basically, one part of these projects were also telling the Greys and other beings that they just can't do it because for many reasons. First of all, the psyche of human psyche is different than other beings. They they are unprepared for these encounters, and they just freak out. The other thing is that the government has a big problem if these kind of stuff comes to becomes public when people get on their social media and say like, yesterday I had this and that. That is when certain projects in the 50s, 60s, we don't want to talk about the Man in Black, but there's a reason why there's a movie about it, because it's a real thing. Well, anyway, it never happened to me for years. They pretty much respected that. I have this condition about, because of these projects, and it all comes with certain repercussions. And, Emery, you know how it is being in these projects and some psychological
big responsibility,
right?
and it's a very stressful. It's a very big responsibility. Very stressful for you and your loved ones. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. So, and even the neighborhood and everyone in the house, right? So, at that time, I was recruited so young at age 18. I was still living with my parents, right? So, I'm pretty sure they have, must have had certain experiences which they completely forgot. But
Right.
anyway, I usually I have this condition after these years in projects that when something in my bedroom happens, or if even like a person enters the outer gate of my property, I'm awake. And recently, people recently it even happens to animals, which is kind of interesting. I never experienced that, but I had a scorpion in my bedroom like 2 days ago. I was like, and I woke up. I never had that experience before, because very rare situation to have that in your bedroom. But anyway, so I have these alarm systems within me that I get like out of sleep in 1 second, and it happened to me like 1 week ago or something. That suddenly at night I was waking up. It was a strange night anyway, because there were weird sounds around the house. And in the middle of the night, I woke up and I saw these two grays standing there in my bedroom. And my initial reaction was like shouting at them. So I was like, "You guys know you should not do this. You should not appear there." So the whole
Right.
encounter only lasted like 2 minutes or so. And if you know the Grays, they usually do not speak to you in a vocal
Right.
form. But all these people who got contacted, and even in these projects, most of the time it is telepathy or through technology. So in the projects, we used to have this kind of iPad thingy, which wasn't an iPad, but it appeared
Yeah.
to be like a translator in order to put the
Yeah.
stuff on there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
right? I heard
yeah,
you and I
yeah,
went to
I mean,
Mexico, and
I
you said
agree.
like
I
we were
agree with.
using that.
Yeah, we had that too.
Yeah, it's interesting.
We had this glass flexible kind of iPad thing, kind of holographic imaging, and it produced harmonic sounds.
Wow.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, mostly all communication that I've had with extraterrestrials in and out of the projects was completely telepathic. It was not the normal howdy doody. Now there are many ETs that are human that talk just like us, but the Greys for sure were always all telepathic, and so were the reptilians. Very, but we did have these small units though, that some of them would put on their necks, and some of them also would use these flexible iPads. So it would just tell us, exactly what they were transmitting. And a lot of them would transmit in different types of sounds, and the device would interpret those beeps and those sounds into English terms or whatever language we needed it to be in.
Interesting. Yeah.
Tim, we had scorpions in our house. Emery can tell you how we handled that situation.
I got a broom real quick. I don't know. I couldn't find it after that. I guess it was on the window, but it was appearing that it was inside of the bedroom. So I don't know. I hope it's outside. But yeah, please tell me,
Well,
elaborate,
no, we'll get into that.
enlighten
We'll
me
get
on
into
how to
that
deal
at
with
the
them.
well, we'll get into that, but keep going because we're on a roll here with this. The communication is probably one of the biggest aspects of everything on this planet going on, because there's miscommunication. And once telepathy gets out, we're going to just shoot through the stars. We're going to go non-linear with it. And I can totally relate to you, and how difficult it is being in that position too. So tell
Yeah.
me, what was what happened? Oh my gosh, they're standing there, and you're like, guys, not only is it a little startling, but it's not safe for them usually. And
Yeah.
I kind of get the feeling you didn't want all that, you know,
Absolutely.
all that.
I was
Yeah, it's a
yelling at
lot.
them.
That's a
Yeah, I
yeah,
was yelling. I was yelling because because again in this project, and I know the Grays being the Grays, we make contracts with them, and at certain times they find ways around it. I get that. So by telling them like, hey, you shouldn't be contacting the human population directly, physically, and by them signing that contract, they usually stick to that. So it was like very, very confusing to me to even have this experience, and it was
Yeah.
like, me as a German, it's every
Mhm.
German in the chat knows that we love rules. I mean, we don't love them, but we stick to rules very much. They are very much impregnated into the German mind. So if someone is like you speeding on the autobahn, we're like, you shouldn't do this for no reason, instead of
Yeah.
saying like, hey, if you didn't, endanger anyone or harm anyone, that's it's your thing. But so I was like shouting. I found myself from sleeping and going into shouting at them and saying like, you shouldn't do this. We had an agreement, and you guys signed it. So it was all over after 2 minutes. And we know from these encounters with other people that had different other alien and ET. I don't like the word alien, but ET encounters. It leaves a psionic or psychic imprint, which reveals itself after some time. Most people report being shocked in the very moment and having that for quite some few days. And after that, they suddenly have messages or received something or have like a feeling in the gods or something. So, for example, we had people in the English forest, a very famous incident where they saw this craft, and one of the English army members was touching it, and weeks later he was like seeing all this binary code in front of his eyes, and it was so strong he couldn't stop him from
Right.
writing it down on a page of paper. And he had like, I think, 17 pages of binary code
Oh,
memorized in his head, right? And it was like
yeah.
analyzed, and it was a clear message to humanity, which was absolutely crazy and nuts. So I got the message from these encounters that they were telling me like, hey, calm down, we wouldn't do it if it wasn't like super important, and two,
Right.
please, please go and hurry up with what you do.
Wow.
And
That's compelling.
right, right. So I felt like that is like a strong message. And I told that to some in the community, in the inner star group, the inner circle, and they were very emotional about it too, because they could feel that it was moving me, you know. So
Sure.
and a lot of other beings at that very time, and had people, in our community and outside of it, they had encounters at the very same time, coming from different other ET groups too. Sarah Brexman Cosma, I don't know if you know her. Yeah, you do. So
Oh,
she,
Sarah. Mhm.
you don't? Oh, you do.
No, I don't think I do. I don't think I
Okay.
do. No.
Yeah, no problem. So she's
Yeah.
she's basically she's doing hypnosis and QHHT sessions, which is they
Oh yeah,
use
I
the
know her.
human.
Your podcast and webinar.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh
She's
yeah, she's
also
awesome. Yeah, really
she
cool.
she is
Yeah.
awesome. She's awesome, and she got contacted. Some different ET species came through in one of her sessions, was saying like, Sarah, you must hurry. You should hurry. And she was like, oh my god, I'm a soccer mom. I work on this, but I also got like my kids and all that kind of stuff. So um, and I told this to Sid Goldberg, who's a friend of ours, right? You know Sid. So he's
Yes, yes.
he's the producer of many Gaia shows too.
Yes,
And I
it's
told
awesome.
it, and right, he's awesome. But in most cases, he's like very um he's how can I say it? He's like, it isn't really easy to get Sid out of his comfort zone, out of,
No,
right? He's
yeah,
like
no
settled,
way. It's very, yeah,
right?
he's settled. He has his own belief system, and that's what he believes in. That's why you have your own belief system. I mean,
Yeah.
that.
And I called him the other night and I told him about it, and he was like, he snapped completely out of the video call. He wasn't even, it seemed like he wasn't even aware that I was listening to him. He started talking to himself, and he was shaking. I've never. I see your surprise in your eyes, Emery, and
Wow.
I've never seen
Wow.
him like that. And he was like, "It came up in my meditation. It came up in my meditation, so it's true. It's true. I need to hurry. I need to hurry." And he said, "Like Tim, I'm gonna
Yeah.
take the next possible flight, and I'm gonna fly over to your place, and we are gonna have a meeting." So everyone that I talked to, they had at the very same time by different ET groups and different mental input, they had these moments where they were saying like, guys, the shift is upon us, hurry up with what you do. And it feels like
And what is it? What do you
2020.
think that what do you think that translates to for the like hurry up with the teachings, hurry up with informing, like keep doing what we're doing, because right now we're kind of like educators, we're not so much, I don't want to say channelers, but we're getting information brought to us by extraterrestrials, and we're trying to get that out to people to be more conscious and more loving of each other. Like, what is that? What do you think it is?
It seems to resonate with everyone in a very unique and special way. So everyone was telling that, and everyone got a different focus on what they want to do. Some people were saying like, "Oh my goodness, I feel so strongly, and I must write this book and get it out." And some other people were, like, we must increase the preparation for people. So ultimately, it seems like that
Mm-hmm.
we and
Yeah.
everyone watching this right now, I count you all in. We are here in order to balance the frequential field of the Earth, right? We are going through
That's
this
right.
time of shift. And outside, there are like millions and millions of people who are absolutely not prepared for what can happen when reality field moves and merges into each other. The Miami incident seems to be, and I don't know if it's hoax or staged, but if it was, it
Mhm.
seems it is a very strong indicator of what can happen when even like a small portion of something paranormal happens in this world. Suddenly, hundreds of people, start screaming, shooting at something, at ghosts, shooting at ghosts, hundreds of police cars, all the stuff that happens.
Yeah.
That
I
right?
believe
That
I believe
probably
that's what
wouldn't.
I like how you put it, Tim. You said it perfectly, because the veils right now with all the worlds and this, how we're merging together, the veils are at their thinnest right now because they're crossing in between where both worlds are together at the same time, but fluctuating through frequency, just at a different harmonic level, where they're coming in and coming out. We're coming in and we're getting to see this unfold in our homes, in our communities, in our stores, in the public. And people are reporting this more and more about, like you said. So we're going to see, I think, a little bit more of this paradigm shift, like you're talking about, just get more elevated every day. And I also believe that all of us are going to be also getting more messages, like everyone in your team and you have been getting. I've been seeing this with all of my followers and friends and family, that there's these messages that are nonstop, that are coming in, and some of them are doubting. Am I going crazy? I know this is not the right life for me, but this is the right life, what I want to do. And that's all about manifesting what you want, because you can easily change
Yeah.
your day when you wake up and say, I want this in my life. And, I want that. I want to accomplish this amazing hospital that I'm building. I want to make sure this gets done. And I think what you said was on point, was every person has the message, but it's different for each individual. Yeah.
And the mission too, right? Because ultimately
Right.
we are
Yeah.
here, and that is what all shift happening now is about.
Yeah.
We are here in
Right.
order to balance the frequency field. We are inside of this reality because we are prepared, and we are preparing you and
Right.
preparing each other, and we hold the timeline. Because without us, without the ETs from the outside and us from the inside, this reality field would collapse very, very quickly, because there are so many millions of people that just like would be running around like shooting ants and attacking each other if something occurs. So what the shift is about is actually that there are realms of existence that are inhabited by other beings. And some of them are very similar to what we experience here in this 3D realm. There are other realms that are a little bit more exotic and probably extremely exotic and scary to someone who gets in contact with them for the first time. But the shift means that the planet itself is moving into a condition where these realms kind of merge and overlay each other, right, Emery?
Right.
You not?
Yes. No, that's exactly what I'm getting at. I want people to understand that there's so many different dimensions, and these realms that he's talking about are contain other conscious living beings, and they may look a little bit different depending on what their dimension they're from. But regardless, it is this bonding and this overlaying of these beautiful worlds and realms that people will now also have an affinity for that. And a lot of people have affinities and have these visions that they don't even know where they came from. Or maybe they have an affinity for, like I have an affinity for Celtic music. I have a friend who has an affinity for Marilyn Monroe. These things are all within this beautiful, vast space of this beautiful morphogenic field that's all coming into one.
Absolutely, and it's gonna appear on this planet, and whatever happened in Miami for me is like, no pun intended, by foreshadowing, or let's find a more positive word, but a foresight for what's gonna happen if this continues, and this is gonna continue happening.
Yeah.
So we are going to merge with all these worlds. Thing about this is, again, this planet has done, I want to make it as friendly as I can, a lousy job in order to prepare the masses of people for spiritual ascension. Not good.
Yes. Yeah,
This
it's
planet
not
had
good. There's
15,000 years, right?
right. I
At
agree.
the
There's so much influence, and this negative influence we have to overcome. And
Yeah,
that's actually
that's the
part of
point.
Tim's mission and my mission here is to make sure we get that information out and let you know you're not alone. And we cannot allow to be in this controlled society with these megalomaniacs. And, there's no reason for us to be repressed with technology and with health and with love and with consciousness, because the whole thing is to dumb you down and inflict these harmful radioactive devices on us that I was this computer, this headphone, these lights all have radiation. Everything is set up to discombobulate your neurons and your cells and make you sick. It's so interesting because I just spoke. I don't know if David Adair's on here. He's supposed to be on just listening in. David Adair and I had a beautiful conversation last night. Oh, by the way, wish David Adair a happy birthday. It was his birthday yesterday, Tim.
Wow, that's a cool.
Yeah, but he came
look
up
up
and
him.
there's this secret scientist that we're involved with that he's basically involved with. I'm brought into the project with it, and he came up with this cold nuclear energy, not cold fusion, so to say, but a non-containment fusion of radioactive energy, which is what David Adair has already done, and we're going to work together and get that out. So imagine having unlimited energy where the radioactive isotope doesn't have to be contained and it doesn't give you radiation. So it's basically free energy from a couple of atoms, isotopes. And that right there alone will free up all this mind control things that are going on with satellites and cell phones and computers and false media. So I just thought I'd throw that in there, Tim.
Keep on talking, because I'm gonna take a screenshot of the chat as everyone is like wishing Dave a happy birthday, and I'm gonna send it
Please do.
to him. That is so amazing.
Excellent.
And also,
Yeah,
these
so
are the same people that prayed for David when he was sick.
yes. Yeah, David, I don't know if you're watching, but maybe Darla can text him. He said he was going to come on and watch this today. And
wow.
Yeah. So it's really amazing. We had some really good talks. We always have great talks, and we're doing another big show. You, me, Richard, and some others in February. We're going to do another big panel So stay tuned for that one. Tim, I didn't even tell you about that one yet.
No,
but
I was
but
like,
you're going to
what?
be there. So, yeah. So
I'm on the show.
there's this this device that he's already proven in the laboratory that he can contain nuclear energy without the radiation harming anyone. So that means like nuclear reactors have to have all this stuff around it. And they're super dangerous, and the excess of that is very dangerous because they bury it usually. It's just a bad thing. We age because of radiation. We age because of deuterium, which is a radioactive isotope that's everywhere on the planet. That's why you should drink deuterium depleted water. And also the sun, which gives off radiation, high amounts of that. I think a little amounts of sun you have to have, definitely, but not to sit out for 8 hours a day with it. But the whole radiation thing is just an amazing concept that they're going to bring, and we're going to be talking about that soon in the future on future webinars. So yeah, it was his birthday, so wish David Adair a happy birthday. If you want him to have, if you want to wish him a personal happy birthday, you can. I'll write down his contact information because we really appreciate all your support, and you can tell them. Let me see. Let me ask him which one I should give. But go ahead, Tim. I'll let you keep going. I was just going to ask David.
Send his phone number in the chat.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh my gosh, I'll never hit any of it. Let me just.
He's
You're
hilarious.
trying to
I
set
love
me
it.
up too, like Darcy. Okay, I see how you are. Throw me under the bus. Oh, just because Emery can take it. It's okay.
That's true.
Emery's the
Well,
old guy. He can take it.
that's such a nice webinar. I love it. So, first of all, thank you all for praying for David and also sending
Yeah,
this
thank you so much, guys.
good positive wishes. But this is like
So,
showing us
yeah,
that all of you are part of stabilizing and balancing this earth field. And it's more important than ever, it seems. Because again, these beings and these messages wouldn't come through if if it wasn't like urgent. The reason why there is, and I think Katie was it that asked about the possible timelines. And usually I refuse or step back from telling what could possibly happen, because again, we need to learn that we individually design our timelines. And if one of you designs a very good timeline, if I design a very good timeline and I invite all of you on this very good timeline, it's a stable timeline. It's a nice way to get along in the universe. So that is why I'm not telling you which is probable or whatever. But the reality is that this planet has certain a little complicated conditions, which means there are millions of people that are also influencing the field. And I don't know if you have acknowledged that or noticed that, but the possibilities to manifest certain realities has increased in the last few weeks extremely. It has become so extreme compared to what used to be on this planet. It usually was like it was a little bit like bubble gum, right, Emery? When you try to
yeah,
make something and manifest it here, it was like which is good. It's also some type of security mechanism, so that if you think about an elephant, it's not gonna appear in your bedroom suddenly or something. But these barriers get more and more removed from this reality, which means that we especially us, as being on the forefront of creating realities, we really need to pay attention uh,
hmm
on the purity of our hearts and the realities that we create, and right, and creating the most beautiful possible shift there is, and then include all these other beings, because all of you are all very important, first of all, and second of all, you all have responsibilities, not only for yourself, especially for yourself, but also for beings inside of your energy field. Each one of us has an energy field around us. The only reason why we communicate right now and merge parts of our reality fields is because AI is helping us with this technology that we are just sharing here. But each one of you has loved ones, beings, friends, family, children, maybe. Um, be there for them, you know. Some of them might not be as far evolved as you are. So uh, something that I and Emery too, we all want you to be prepared for, that is take responsibility for yourself and for them.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And, you know, the fact that your energy field is not just you alone. Your energy field has to do with your loved ones around you, they're a part of you, and most importantly, your extraterrestrial family by lineage. You know, not to get back into the science of things, but everyone, mostly everyone, except for the what we call the eight ball people are walking around that are soulless. Most everyone here on the planet has this energy field and also has genetic DNA predisposition of some percentage from some extraterrestrial civilization from around the world. Now, when I've tested thousands and thousands of genetic anomalies in the covert projects and out of the projects, we've noticed that all humans have some sort of DNA that's not from here, definitely from another extraterrestrial society or planet or stellar system. And even some people have it from interdimensional beings, because we had DNA from other interdimensional beings too that were kept on file. ETs themselves have human DNA. So there's this correlation of the body itself and of the etheric field of energies of not only your loved ones who have passed, but the loved ones where you actually came from. And I think everyone should know they're not alone. You do have these loving entities, these beautiful extraterrestrials and interdimensional beings that are there to help you, that are helping to guide you through, you know, what you're going through now. And that's why you volunteered to be here, part of this amazing mission that Tim and I are telling you about. And we're so happy that you are, because if not, it would just be me and Tim here talking to each other.
Which is also kind of nice.
Which is
I
nice.
had the
I just
most
want to make
nice
sure people are paying attention.
guys, I tell you, if you ever celebrate a birthday, invite Emery, because he knows how to party. It was so cool to spend my last birthday with you, Emery. So, but anyway, besides that, I wanted to ask, because a lot of the people in the inner All Shift Happily Now group, where I shared that with people for the first time, because I'm always trying to respect everyone. So we have thousands of people in our communities that might just randomly tap into these, Instagram wisdom clips and just whatever, for whatever reason they tap, they follow, and they might not be as prepared as you or dedicated. So I try to respect that, even though I see we have so many powerful beings in this community. So if you just type in the chat if you had like some kind of meditative feelings or encounters, even like ET encounters in the last few days, and what message came through to you, just enlighten us too, so we can like have more information on what's happening. That would be really, really cool. And I know a lot of you had, so that's about that.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's great. We should hear about your experiences. I'm always interested, to hear. I get, hundreds of emails a day with some really amazing stories and up-to-date information. And it's impressive how many people, Tim, that follow us that are really connected and really want to help and are really part of the conscious movement of all shift happily now, because
Yeah, I love that.
the awareness and the vocalization of that alone, as you know, how powerful it is to talk about this out loud and to spread this across these airwaves that are going trillions of miles into space right now. And it is a group collective, and as a group, we can accomplish pretty much anything we want to.
As the real amount of the truth that you just spoke, Emery, that
I'm
just
just
let that
saying,
sink in.
yeah, think that. I mean, I got to put it in your face because it is that easy. One person can do amazing things in this planet, and two people can do amazing things in this universe. And more than that, well, we control it, we manifest it. So
Tens of
do not.
thousands of people,
Yeah.
right, that are just following us and doing this all shift happily
Yes.
now together with us. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And also want to give credit to Sid Goldberg, who's the producer of
Yes.
Cosmic Disclosure,
Thank you,
because
Sid. Yeah. Because
I
of
saw that in
right.
the chat.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, Dara was just asking me about that, and if it wasn't for Sid Goldberg, Tim and I really wouldn't be here right now because he's like the backbone of getting all these things organized and out there. So we're really lucky to be part of that and part of Gaia TV. I mean, if you guys, I know I got to put a plug in for Gaia TV because I know a lot of Gaia people are watching, not just because my boss is watching, but I'll just say one thing. We're very thankful for all the people at Gaia and especially the leaders, Kirsten and Yerk and all of them for allowing us to go on here and share our experiences on Gaia TV. If you haven't seen it yet, which I think most of everyone here has, I think I'm on my 29th season. I don't know yet, but there's still more episodes to come. So sign up at Gaia TV Cosmic Disclosure. There's a link on my website at emerysmith.co too, and I think Tim has it also one on his.
Yeah. I know, and Sid is also the reason why almost I got to tell this story because we're doing this webinar, right? And it's private thing.
Yeah.
And
it's private, so we could say anything about anybody.
Say anything, right? So he was also the reason why I almost didn't come forward because I was like texting him through. So basically, I received this text message this other day, a few years ago. I was still working for government projects, and the all shift happening now plan was something that I proposed to the people in these fields more than 15 years ago. And for all this time, and at that time, they were like pretty rude to me and saying like, "You are not going." So, and then basically years later, someone from that field texted me and showed me one of the Cosmic Disclosure clips with Randy Kramer at that time, you and Randy, and I was watching that and was like, my gosh, they are not revealing this. And I can't say anything about Randy's personal stories, but his information, 80% of what I've seen, I could just confirm. And I was like, okay, I know what this message means. It means like it's about time to come forward. So I texted Sid, and man, it almost didn't happen because he replied to me in the most rude way ever, and he's Canadian. That says a lot, right? Because few days before I reached out to him, some imposer from Germany sent him a fake CIA photoshopped card. And Sid was also sending the CIA card to some, because everyone at Gaia, well, at least I, and obviously this guy too, they get background check. They send these things to people in the fields that are working for the DIA, CIA, or have contacts in these fields and get background checks too. And this guy was like a German guy, and he was sending a random photoshopped image of CIA card. And Sid was like sending that to the CIA, and the CIA was like, "Hey, Sid, we don't even have to look at that because why should there be a German guy on our paycheck? It's just not how we operate. You could have seen that." And Sid was angry because he felt for it. He felt for it, and he was angry, and he was like basically shouting at me because he believed that I was the other guy.
Yeah, he thought it was you, actually. That's what happened, is he thought it was you. I remember this because he was, cursing up and down.
You remember that? Oh my goodness, I remember that too.
He was talking
so
about
I had to send him photos of the projects of certain credentials. I had to send him my security card and all that kind of stuff. And then suddenly he invited me. But oh, that's your new dog, isn't it? Emery got 2 new dogs.
The dragons are getting rambunctious. They're excited because animals are like really great because they're like Tim. They're very aware in the middle of the night, and anything that happens, you're going to know. They have extra perceptionary skills and senses, I'll say, And you too can have these if you follow our directions, because the meditations that Tim does on his podcast and stuff, I definitely highly recommend for you guys who have not heard him do his meditations and his manifestations. I don't know what you call them, Tim, but they're all great. And I think we're going to do that eventually.
Yeah.
I think we're going to do
I was
just like
just
a
about
mass
to say,
meditation.
please. I was about to say, everyone, write an email to emery@emerysmith.co and tell him he should come to these meditations. But he just admitted it. He just said it.
No, it is
I don't know
great.
if that is your email address, by the way.
There's Lily. That's Darcy's little doggy.
Oh, come on.
She's one of our mascots, yeah.
She's
Hi,
a
Lily.
little shy on the camera. Yeah, awesome.
Now you're
Yeah,
going to
one
see
of
the
the
whole pet
reasons.
family. But yeah, I mean, I've been there clandestinely. You don't know me. I'm on there. I can see you.
Awesome.
I'm
Yeah, but
watching you, you know.
we want you to be in front of the camera. And all
I
these
do.
people,
I do.
all these
Yeah, I will.
100 people have right now received that you are going to come. And we're all going to welcome you very, very friendly. So, and P.S., I don't know if that was Emery's real email address. I don't know.
It's you can reach me at Cosmic Market 3 at Gmail. Cosmic Market 3. Here, I'll type it in at gmail.com. There we go.
Also, his phone
she's bringing
number
in the
is
dragons.
+1 377 50. I'm just joking.
Oh my
anyway,
gosh.
Back
Yeah,
to
so
the
Darla
topic.
wants to show off the dragon real quick, so let her show off the dragons. So these are my my biological, they kind of turned out okay. They took a little long in incubation tunnels, but I think they turned out okay. Yeah, you can't really see them, but they're blue. Can't see them, Darla. Well,
oh, come on.
we're just moving in, so please, we're not unpacked yet. There they are, little guy there. There's R2B2 for my past dogs, Raven 2 and Beowulf 2. So these are R2B2.
My goodness, this is the coolest background, all private Cosmic Disclosure event ever.
Yes.
Behind the scenes of Cosmic Disclosure.
Everybody knows how personal I am. Yeah, it's pretty raw.
Emery, I got it.
You guys don't get to the computer.
Thank you, Darla, for the presentation. They're too rambunctious right now. Yeah, they're cane corsos, by the way. That's what they are. But go ahead.
I am being constantly asked something, Emery, and it's coming from you and Dodie and Adair, and I only have like secondhand information on that. So I'm forwarding that question now to you because I know everyone in the chat does want to know that. What's the story behind the craft that people have reported that seem to be around Jupiter?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's still no more updates than that. What had happened was this has been being watched for 2 or 3 decades now. Now, the admiral that I'm in contact with is the one who's been updating me the information. Last update I got, I think, was in end of November there around Thanksgiving, which I told everyone. I've been telling you this for 3 or 4 months. It's on this direct course for planet Earth. It's been sitting out in Jupiter and off Saturn there for a very, very long time. And it does move around slowly, but now it's actually coming here. It was supposed to be here at the end of December. I recently was drafted by the United States Air Force, and I was really concerned because I didn't want to go back in. And I thought it was because of the craft has arrived and they were going to draft me back in to do what I do best for them, and which I can't talk about. But when that happens, I was hoping they would just keep me as a civilian contractor like I do off and on right now with the government. But they were actually drafting me back in like active duty, which we'll get into that story in a second. And then I was thinking, oh my gosh, I guess the craft's here. That's why they need me back. But the craft, for some reason, it's here. I mean, it's very close, but I don't know where it's at. I haven't been updated where it's at. And they said, well, it's most likely going to make itself noticed, or I'll say be in Earth's area by the end of January. So they put it off. I don't know why. My admiral's definitely firsthand information. I'm getting it from him. There's no reason why he would lie to me and put out disinformation. I don't have that much of a following out there that it would affect the entire population of Earth. So I don't know what's going to happen, and that's the truth, and that's all I can tell you is what I've heard, and that's it. So I actually thought that when they drafted me, this was the whole unfolding of the draft thing with me and David Adair. That was very interesting. I don't know if you want to get into that, Tim, because that's a whole another thing, or we can save that for later.
Very interesting. I just dropped a link in the chat of a from space.com, and they have an article on that ship, and they say a draft paper by a Harvard scientist and the head of the Pentagon's UFO office. They came up with the information on this alien mothership that could be in our solar system. So it's not only Emery and not only David, it's like Harvard scientists and Pentagon UFO intelligence.
I've known about this for 15 years. Definitely the last 10 years, we've been really following it. I have actually tried to make contact with different types of extraterrestrials. And one of my questions is about the craft and what its intentions are. I heard that there was no negative intentions at all. I was also downloaded that this is a type of galactic parliament. So it's not like one race, these ships are 30, 33 miles long. These are whole, planets on like one big ship of many diverse, different extraterrestrial races working together. That, and they're from an even larger group of people in space. This is a small craft compared to their giant planet-like spacecraft. Like the moon is a big spacecraft. It's even, some of their spacecrafts are even larger than our moons. There are whole planets, kind of like the Death Star on Star Wars, even larger than that. So these craft go out to different solar systems to monitor planets like ourselves that are having, I'll just say, suppressed issues. There's many planets out there like planet Earth that have started at the exact same time, and they're already like thousands of years more advanced than us because they didn't have the diversity of races and control from other, life forms that have suppressed us. So I think they've been watching us unfold, and they noticed that we have not been doing a good job taking care of Gaia, not Gaia TV, but Gaia Planet Earth. And they're very upset with this. And they know that we have to fall on our face and make mistakes. So they can't just rush in here, give us all this beautiful technology, because they tried that once before, and we took their technology and we made weapons out of it to kill each other. So that's not a normal thing for spacefaring individuals. So everybody knows it's not normal for us to cut each other's heads off and videotape that and put it on a YouTube. So they're trying to figure out, they're here to protect us. They've been here protecting us. They have small echelons of different races that are on planet Earth. Many, up to 500,000, 500,000 or more races are here on Earth, blending in, working with us, taking care of these events that happen, such as like when there's cataclysmic events, tsunamis and volcanoes and earthquakes that, believe it or not, we created with our scalar infotopmetry weapons sometimes. That's why you see a lot of these extraterrestrial sightings around the volcanoes, around the tsunamis coming out of the water, because these little light beings and these energetic interdimensional beings are trying to make sure that Earth is, taken care of. Earth is a very important point in space that doesn't exist, I'll say. And it survives interdimensionally in many different aspects without getting into the complicated physics of it. And this is something that's been well known for many millennia in space, and many life forms and other civilizations that have actually been here a lot longer than we have, that are in inner Earth and outer Earth, that are fluxing in and out of this dimension. We do have a huge population of other races and humans inside inner Earth, which hopefully maybe you've seen my episodes on inner Earth. I've done like 8 of them. These civilizations really look at Earth as the jewel and as a centerpiece in this galactic map. And it's like how we have ley lines here on planet Earth. Well, there's ley lines in the universe, in the solar systems, and they're 3 and 4th dimensional. And we are one of these really important places that have been here for a while that they want to preserve because of the ecosystem. Some planets that I've studied and races that I've studied on the InSight projects were completely all one race on that planet. There was no other there wasn't a lot of intermingling of races, and they only had a few species and a few species of plant life and animal life. And here we have hundreds of millions of different species of insects and plant life and bacteria and plankton, and of course the mammals and humans even alone. And that's a very interesting planet. It's not a normal thing to have a planet so diverse and so flourishing, yet the creatures on it are trying to destroy it. So they're kind of coming here, I believe, my own opinion, to make, number one, a presence, to let everyone know that they're not alone. And yeah, that's going to really upset a lot of people, a lot of institutions, organizations, and especially religion. And it doesn't mean those things didn't happen in history. It just means it's not the complete story, and it might have got a little jumbled up on the way here. So education and religion and all sorts of things. History, of course, is going to take a big leap ahead. And, I think everyone on this is definitely ready, for this event to happen. And I don't want to have people have fear in their minds, because there's always, a bright star looking out for us in the universe and interdimensionally too, because of how beautiful we are and how we were made. And that's a whole group collective statement as well, because we all have a piece of each other inside of us.
These people are the most and best prepared people on the planet at this very moment. It's not like we had 15,000 years to prepare the civilizations, but at least I know of myself, I've been working relentlessly and tirelessly in the last few years, preparing everyone, and I'm so happy about this. So we have a few and very, very good questions and a nice discussion going on in the chat. Daniela, thank you so much for enjoying this webinar with us. I'm very much enjoying that too, because it feels like a very nice, intimate space to just have like a bit of a behind the scenes cosmic disclosure, right, Emery?
Yeah, no, I love it. It's nice to meet us off the record, so we're not so serious, and you see how goofy we are. At least I am. Tim is very proper German. I'm only 50% German, so I'm the improper German.
I'm working on it. Yeah, it's right. You got some German heritage too. So Ben had a wonderful question, because he was asking,
yes.
How can we serve? And I believe, first of all, it's a very individual experience, and I love to hear your opinion on that too, Emery, in a second. It's a very personal, individual experience that we have, right? Every one of us is different, and it came very, very clear to me when I was speaking to these individuals, Sid and Sarah and you and different other people, and they all had different other missions going on. Suddenly, stuff that I wasn't thinking about, like Sid was like shaking, had certain ideas in his mind. So every one of us has a different idea of how they execute and different skills on how they serve this planet. But actually, we as a group, and that is more clear than ever, and we are only waiting for the other 499 million individuals that could belong to our group. We know that there are 500 million people at the very least on this planet at this time, beings from other realities, other star systems, other soul experiences, and designed for other soul experiences, and I include everyone here, that are preparing this planet by their individual work and by balancing the field. So when we come together as a group, just as Emery so perfectly said a few minutes ago, we combine our psionic energies, and each one of us individually creates a universe, but together we become the universe, and we can host so many, many, many beings. So if you ask how can you serve, you are probably already doing it by just being here. If you want to improve and do what the greats are saying, like hurry up, follow us, and we create this together. We combine our energies. We do this monthly, and meditate together. And whatever your idea is of helping and serving, it's just right. It's very, very right. What's your take on that, Emery?
No, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there, Tim. I mean, everyone that's here is obviously wanting to know more information, wanting to strive to be a better conscious person. And, I think it's all, we're here on this educational path. We're here on a platform that we volunteer to be here, where we have to learn every day. I'm learning something from someone. I don't care who it is. It could be a homeless person. It could be the guy with the highest IQ on the planet. These things are brought to us because you're requesting this subliminally. And I think it's important to manifest what you want out of this life in this very short whisper of a time that you're here, because we're forever entities, and we go on and on and on forever. It doesn't stop here. So we must realize that as well. But while we're here, we have a mission. And Tim and I are very strict about our missions, and we know what we need to do, and we're doing all that, and we're sitting here with you guys getting that information out because we want you guys to have the same goals. Not the same goals or missions, but your own goals and missions that you have for you for improving the planet and improving our species. Because right now, it is a narrowing effect of negativity, and that's so easily overcome by the way we think and know that we're loved and that we all are one here. I consider all of you part of my family, absolutely, 100%. And, that's hard to do, working in the ER. I remember working on a drunk driver who just killed a family of 4 and having to get up in the middle of the night and go do surgery on him. So these are things that, man, I know that's not me, but, these are things you have to figure out to forgive. Forgiveness is the biggest thing out there. And once you get that behind you and understand people aren't trying to irritate you, people are just the way they are because that's just the way they are. And you have to work with everyone. And I think the more
Until
we work
know
with
better,
everyone,
right?
right, until they know better. And we have to, I always tell everyone, especially at these very in-depth meetings with the United Nations and other countries, that, I'm only as fast as the slowest runner on the planet. And that's okay. In the military, we would be running as a platoon in the Army and in a flight in the Air Force. I was in both. And we would have to say, hey, let's help this guy out. Let's get him, a robotic suit or something. Let's build him something. I'm being funny right now, but the thing is, we can do that today and make people healthier and happier and also more conscious by bringing people in, not preaching to them. It's up to them if they want to make a conscious decision. And I don't think it's wise for anyone to inflict this on their loved ones because it's something that everyone's at their own different stage. My mom put it best saying that we're all in different grades when we come here. Some people, this is their first time around, and some others, we've been here for hundreds of thousands of years, and we have done this hundreds of thousands of times, and we're coming back and back to help everyone. But how would you treat the newbie in the classroom? That's my question to the audience. How would you treat that new person? This came from a whole nother state or another country, because that's what we're doing, Tim and I, every day. We're helping newbies, we're helping people, and all of you are not saying, I'm just saying that you're newbies. I'm saying, how would you treat that situation? Because you have to embrace that moment, and you have to really show your love and compassion. And I think a lot of you understand that already, but it had to be said out loud. So yeah, I agree with that, Tim.
And that's really true what you say, because I've experienced some people in the All Shift Happily Now community that just had their breakthrough moments, their awakening moments, and that is something that I'm being in my bubble, I'm completely surrounded by enlightened beings, which is it's great. But sometimes I have a tendency to forget that there might be people that are just waking up at this very moment, and they're like taking their first steps, because what I'm doing is like, and what you're doing too, we are doing like a very advanced preparation. We are not like the people who are like preparing
Right.
the meetings, because we are speaking to very, very advanced people here. But sometimes, and a lot of these people and the community, sometimes they just recently happen to have their awakening moments. I had,
Yeah.
for example, just one moving story was like this girl from Indonesia, and she went into the forest, into the jungle, and she basically had her first encounter with an ET being, or not an ET being because they are living on this planet, but she saw a 7 feet tall ant being suddenly in front of her, and that brought her, because she was like researching on the internet, and that brought her to Cosmic Disclosure and was binge watching our episodes. So
Mhm.
just remember that and see the Miami incident as a precursor, or like a foresight of what can happen when these people hit these moments of spiritual awakening. You are more important than ever. And it might happen to your best friends. It might happen to within your
Right.
family. It might also happen to random people who are just looking out for guidance and help. Then, and all the preparation we do here, Emery and I, and so many world-renowned speakers within our All Shift Happily Now community and beyond, they are doing that because they are also preparing you for the moment that you are much more needed than ever before. We also have one question, Emery, coming from Mary and Tanya and different other people who are also asking the same question. And I can say I don't know that person, so I'm curious what you're gonna say. They ask about Ilana Danan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know. Do you know her?
Oh, it says, oh, here. Yeah, I know of her. Yes, I just know of her. Yes, I can't comment on anything with her as she's described things and her channeling and stuff. So I know a lot of people are saying, I don't know her good enough to say anything about that. So I'm sorry. People
Okay.
asked me that on the last one too. Maybe I should contact her. um,
I've never
some
heard
of
of
you
it.
been at, yeah, I don't know much about that. So um,
I'm absolutely
I've
not in
heard
your
of
college
her.
yet. Yeah.
Hopefully I haven't spoke to her before and forgot about her, which happens sometimes. But yeah, I don't have a comment on that. I'm sorry, guys, but I'll look into that as well.
Oh, that is a good
People
question
are
coming
asking
from.
about, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Go
Emery.
ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, we'll do it. Go ahead. Which
We have a
one?
great question coming from
Yeah,
Victoria,
these
and
are
I,
great
I
questions.
love.
All of them. Yeah.
They are all very, very grateful for all these questions, and thank you so much for being with us here, because it feels like really intimate and special to be with everyone. It's like really the type of behind the scenes cosmic disclosure that we actually should have on Gaia. Maybe we should convince Sid. His email is
Oh,
sid
Victoria's
at
question? Yeah. 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 Sid at Gaia.com. I'll say it. Everyone
gaia.com.
contact Sid Goldberg, especially if you've had a
So,
lot of
so Victoria is asking a
Sid's
great
gonna,
question, and I know your answer already, but I'm curious how
oh,
you put it into words.
I'm ready. I'm
Why
ready for
not
this one.
use right? Why not use a frequency device to just install frequency of pure love, and peace on this planet, Emery? Why not?
Well,
You
we
could do it.
are. A great thing that we're working on with World Peace One. I'm on the board there. My best friend Doug Ivanovich is the president there, and been working with him for I don't know how many, over a decade now. And he's got this new thing, this new invention. And by the way, Doug Ivanovich is one who did Live Aid. Okay, so he does all the big football concerts around the world. He wants to do a 48-hour concert multiple concerts around the world with the top, 500 most, listened to songs in every country. So it's not just the pop culture. It's from Germany. It's from China. It's from Australia. So he's got all these people together, and everyone's already signed on board with this. And it's going to be live broadcasted. So people can watch it at home, no matter where you're at, all around the world, all these concerts going on at the same time. However, there's a frequency, and he calls it the concerts, and some of the terms are called freaks, Freqs. Isn't that cute? The freaks, he calls them. And these are people that are going to go to this concert. We're going to call them the freaks, meaning frequency based. And so there's a way to implant, just as you guys know, with solfeggio tones and Nolgier tones, how it can affect the consciousness. And, a lot of negative subliminal messages are in songs today, which make us not, behave correctly. And through scalar photometry, we know ways to cancel those waves out. Same wave comes out, same wave comes in, it cancels out, makes it neutral. Getting back to her question is, so there's a way to go ahead and because the best communication in the world, I found out, not just on planet Earth, but off planet Earth, is the most important thing we have in common is vibration and harmonics and sound. I've been in huge concerts in different countries and huge EDM, electronic Daisy Carnival concerts where millions and thousands of people conjure. Okay, not millions, thousands of people conjure. I was in Lightning in a Bottle, 55,000 people. I was on stage talking about extraterrestrials. It was great. And it was, one of these giant disco concerts. And there's so many people from around the world. No one knows all the languages, but you put on one song and everyone knows the song. And they're all dancing in harmony. No one cares about your race, your gender, what you are. I'm sure there's a lot of ETs there because it's probably the only place they can go and no one says anything. That's a joke, but it happens. And we can prove that. That's a whole nother story. But when I'm getting at all the harmonics going on, look at how everyone just blends together, no fighting, no shooting when there's music played. So we know that music can bring the planet together, like we did with Live Aid and so many other big conferences that Doug Ivanovich has put on. He's met every president in the world, every king and queen. He's been on the United Nations board, spoke to the United Nations. Really great guy. We're going to have him on the panel in February with all of us. But I'm getting at, they can put these beautiful tones in, these subliminal tones in all the music that'll be broadcasting around the world. So the frequency of pure love is not only in the music and song of who wrote it, who designed it, but there's also frequencies we can introduce into that, which I know it sounds kind of like, well, am I going to be mind controlled? No, you still have your free will. But it's an uplifting, thing of just like when you listen to your favorite song, you get happy. Some songs will make you sad. So, but these frequencies of pure love and peace on the planet is what it's all about. And that's why we call it World Peace One, his organization, because of all the beautiful things they've done for the world, not just Live Aid, but other things, which you can research. So we do have frequency devices that are out there that are classified, that are used to hurt people. And the same thing can be used to help people, but they're not doing it. Now, of course, everybody knows I do nonlinear NLS scanning frequency. I have a device that I have developed with the help of 100 years in the making from Rife, Royal Rife, and also other countries like Germany, believe it or not, and China, and some other countries I can't mention, that have got together and they measured all these frequencies. And most nonlinear systems out there where you get frequency tested like Rife, it's 40 frequencies, 4,000, 40,000, maybe 80,000 frequencies max. We're up to 880,000 frequencies. So we can do these scans for you. Okay, Darla's going to say something. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, well, what about Art Machine, honey? Aren't you going to tell them about that?
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, mention
That's
that.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so our machine does 800. She's trying to finish my sentence.
Sorry.
Our machine does 880,000 frequencies. So we can take a picture of you, or because it measures the photons coming off your body, because everything comes off your body it's like a crystalline. Okay, photons are light, and your light is a hard drive, and we can see everything just with a picture of your face, believe it or not, or a hair follicle or a fingernail follicle. So you don't have to be here in our clinic. We can do it from a vast, far away. And we can see all the way down to your DNA and your chromosomes and your RNA, and we can figure out, where'd you get this disease from, or why are you having these emotional stresses, or it's just very in-depth. And we hope to develop this device so everyone in the world, in 4 to 5 years can have these in their homes, not as high tech as ours, because, you have to go through a very special training, a couple of years of school just to learn this stuff, and then be your own practitioner, which the doctors might hate. I don't know, but because medical here in America is going downhill, we have to step it up because everything is frequency. So getting back to Victoria's question was, yeah, we have that. We're trying to incorporate that for a worldwide planet thing, because music is a frequency that helps everyone heal in all sorts of ways. And we also have these nonlinear systems that are out there, and ours, of course, is the best, the strongest, and we've had miraculous results, and we've done thousands of patients on these devices. I've been doing it for about 8 years. Actually, the first device that I got introduced to was at Gaia TV, and they had one of the first prototypes out there used just for their employees. And so I have a huge experience, a very vast experience with this, for 30 years, of course, with harmonics and frequencies in the military. And then now with this new advent, we designed something to measure all the frequencies, good and bad, in the body. All the cells give off a frequency. All the bacteria gives a frequency off. We've noticed that most disease, actually all disease and cancers, are related to parasites, viruses, and bacteria. So not only can we scan you and diagnose you, but we also do what we call metatherapy, where we're treating the organs or the nervous system or the different systems in the body. And then we also have what we call a destruct mode. Now, a destruct mode means we actually go in and we obliterate those bacteria, parasites, and cancers, destroying them completely. And then you usually get better. But we also incorporate that with the Nano Blue, which I saw some questions in there. I might as well tell them about it since I saw the questions in there, because we're leading into that. The Nano Blue is another product, that I developed, which is a nanoparticle, 0.02 nanoparticles zinc. And that little nanoparticle zinc is introduced in the 4-state of plasma water. And so we developed this through high magnetics, high voltage, and it also has the colloidal gold, silver, zinc. It goes through the null-gir frequencies. It also goes to these photon light frequencies. You can read about it on emerysmith.co, because I don't want to take this up like some sort of infomercial. But many of you on here, and you guys can comment in the audience here, are on a lot of my products. We make a face serum. We make a body spray too. And these things are all help to also biohack your body to make it resilient against 5G and radiation. Now, we're only up to around 33% blockage, but I know that sounds like a lot, but it's a pretty big deal. So there's a lot of interesting things about the Aquafarium Nano Blue concentrates that we talk about. They come in these little 50 ml vials, or you can get a half gallon in the big bottles. And, we also have, like I said, the sprays and the serums, which are really important because they're very anti-aging, and they're also very antiviral, antibacterial, and anti-parasitic. We also have nasal sprays, and we also have nebulization liquid too for that. All these things are all part of protecting your body while you're here on this planet. And we don't believe in pharmaceuticals and all that other stuff, because everything you need is right here on the planet to get our body back to homeostasis. So that was because of Victoria said the frequency stuff. All of our stuff is about frequency. All of our healing's about frequency. All of our plasma waters are frequency infused. And we are water. And that's the secret, is getting yourself around the right people. Stop trying so hard to be part of something if they don't want you. Stick around the people that love you. We love you. Stick around us. Why do you think I just stick around Tim all day? Because he loves the hell out of me. So when we get groups of people together like this, it's really about surrounding yourself with the right frequencies. So, I think people.
Weren't you supposed to say that you love me?
Well, I mean, that's classified. That's why this is called classified. I guess I can tell everyone. Yeah, I do love Tim very much.
Oh, he said it. We got it on the record. That's gonna end up on social media, guys.
My name is Emery Smith, and I love Tim.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope everyone is
So
recording that. Okay, so we got some more questions, and I want to answer them. But I also want to say something about frequencies later on. But
Yeah.
you were asking about earthquakes, and Tanya was asking how these earthquakes, these artificial earthquakes, are being produced by some of the military forces here.
Yeah, one of my great teachers, Tom Bearden, look up his book, Oblivion. Okay, someone typed that in the message audience. They banned his book for a decade. And so what I've learned from Tom Bearden is I learned about scalar infotopmetry in the early 90s in the Air Force, but I also learned a lot more about it once I got out. So we have like the HARP system up in Alaska and all these different, horrible systems around the planet and off planet and interplanet that make this frequency wave called a scalar wave. Okay, it has to do with radionics also and psionics. And these radionics and radioactive and these scalar frequencies are work from a nonlinear system, just like my healing frequency device works from an NLS, nonlinear system. So scalar is a nonlinear type of frequency, which means it's not a line of sight like a CB radio or a cell tower to your phone. It's actually coming from within space. So like when you have, your paper and you put a dot and a dot and you fold it, and everyone's like, oh, everyone's seen this episode where you punch the pencil through the paper. We're everywhere all the time, and people need to realize that. And that's what consciousness is about, and that's why it's so powerful, because consciousness is everywhere all the time, not only in this universe, this dimension, but interdimensionally as well. And that's why we have such a profound effect on other dimensions, because of our love or hate that's going on in this dimension. So scalar infotopmetry was developed a long time ago. There was only about 8 units out there. And the Japanese, I know the Russians sold one to the Japanese Yakuza, and the Japanese Yakuza was using it as they were using it to bully Japan. So what they said to Japan is, you guys are going to give us, $1 trillion, or this is what's going to happen to you. And boom, they did an experiment. They shot one of their waves into the ocean over there by Sumatra, and that big tidal wave came through and just leveled everybody out. So Japan's like, oh shit, we can't deal with these Japanese Yakuza mafia. Let's just go play, give them the money, and we're safe now. So it is very, read the book. It's very scientific, but at least you hear the backstory of how deadly scalar infotopmetry can be. The same thing that happened in Hawaii. Okay, that was a scalar infotopmetry wave as well. Also, lasers they used where they burned down Maui. Spontaneous human combustion is also a type of scalar infotopmetry where someone can completely disintegrate just in their chair, yet the lazy boy is not burned or anything in the house is not burned. It's not that it's a spontaneous human combustion. It's actually just, it got completely transmuted all at once and nothing's there but a burn. So these horrific devices are used for weather control. They're used for, earthquakes, volcanic activity. They're used for very deadly things. They can make a hurricane and have it go wherever they want. These things have been proven. You can look it up online, and it's been around a long time. So check out Tom Bearden's book, Oblivion. If you can get a copy, get one. I know a few of you on here have it, actually. I've seen some names on here that I recognize that have read it. If you want to make comments to everybody about it, please do. But that's what scalar wave technology is in infotopmetry. That's how they made the earthquakes out there in Sumatra there.
So cool. Thank you so much for answering that, Emery.
Yeah.
Dwight is asking, What can we expect about the new medical technologies? I know you have a clinic in Maui, I think. I've seen some of the videos that you sent to me via WhatsApp, and it looks great. But how far is what can people expect? Is this going to? Because
Yeah,
usually the
right.
plan is that it's going to be spread, right?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. The whole thing about, we're opening, a hospital here, and the hospital will be open in about 3 to 5 years. The clinic will be open next year. I mean, this end of this year, beginning of next year. And what we're doing is we're bringing out all these frequency modalities. So these hospital institutions that we're developing, designing, are not just to come get treated, but also to be educational, so you can learn how to do it at home. And you can buy your own technology that we're utilizing there, and then you guys can treat yourselves. Now, Darla and I work out of multiple clinics around the world, and that's some of the videos and some of the pictures you see us treating people. Thank you, Tim, for the plug in there. We do fantastic work, of course, and we're limited until we get this big center up, because right now we're just trying to train dozens of people how to use these frequency devices, so we can spread the love and spread the healing out there. But right now, if you're interested in getting scanned, go to emerysmith.co, Cosmic Market. Either email me at cosmicmarket3@gmail, or go ahead and you can see what we do on the website there. But usually we take an email and we give you a call, we go over what's wrong, and go over the cost and stuff. The scans are expensive. They're $2,500. It takes 8 hours to do a scan. It takes 5 days for us to read the scan. It's about 800 and some pages, and then we call you back up and we go over it, and then we do another scan. And it's all included, because we have to do different kinds of scans on you. It's really interesting. A lot of fun if you want to know about it. There's some people definitely on this show that have had scans. If you want to comment in the comments about how your experience was with Darla and I, please do. Tim, we scanned you. Didn't we scan you one time in the hotel?
It's classified.
Oh, I'm not allowed to talk about that. I forgot. Shit.
I know you guys only wanted to get a hand on my genetics.
Go back on that. No, I won't. I'm not going to talk about your genetics or about where you're from or anything. I won't ever tell anyone that.
That's a good one. Haley asked if this is a real mustache. Yes, it is. I'm only wearing it for you people, not Haley. Not Haley especially.
That's funny.
We got a lot of questions about frequencies, and I also want to step in there, because what you say is like very, very true,
Yeah.
and I want to confirm that too, because you're right. There are these huge billions of dollar projects out there that use frequency machines and frequency generators, and they are there, and they are using that technology. And it's mostly like, these projects have billions of dollars for doing that.
Yeah, there are some med beds. Like I'll throw it in there. There are lots of med beds being made. The really cool ones. There's maybe 20 or so med beds out there now, but they're all these are frequency based. I'm also involved with designing a couple of them. There's still these stages where they're not, some people say they have med beds. It's more like you jump into an infrared light device with some soothing music. But, we are in the midst of making these things. And the great thing about it is the new future self-sustainable city that David and Darren and I are working on will contain frequencies. So just being in the city, you will be rejuvenated. So you don't have to lay down. You don't have to go to a doctor. It's just coming there, and that has a lot to do with the energy fields that we have created. I just had to throw that in there, Tim, before we jump to the next one.
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to talk about an experience that we do, and I know a lot of people here are also in the course that I'm doing weekly, the Ticket to Ride course, and I know a lot of you just jumped from one course over to this behind the scenes webinar. And we are using a signature audio tool there, which is basically utilizing the body. And that really confirms also what Emery is talking about, because the body itself can be utilized as a resonance chamber. So what they do in these billions of dollar projects is using large machinery, but all these technical principles can be reduced and brought down. And I know a lot of you are already on this first round of the course, and probably a lot of you are going to join the next one. We are giving some of these tools to people, and they're utilizing it day by day and bringing their own atoms, their own vibrations into this field. So frequency healing and frequency adjustment is just I don't want to say the future because that's not the word that I would use, but it's absolutely the tomorrow to come. So it's just a beautiful thing. We have some more questions that I would love for us to answer because we are almost like
Yeah.
11 minutes before we
Oh
probably
gosh,
end
where
it,
to go? We time traveled. Oh
right?
my goodness.
Almost
Well, there's a
2
lot of
hours
stuff
in.
here. Yeah, there's a lot of different. I don't know. Which one do you want to answer? I mean, there's so many here. They're so great.
Dwight had another
Okay.
interesting
hmm
question. Tim, which are the ET races working with our military, and what influence do they have for policy making of disclosure to take place? Are they positive beings or negative ones? So first of all, I would say like having like very very negative or very negative beings, that is something that is very rare. There are beings that are just like mixed and mostly what we would probably say not socializing, not very well adjusted to
Right. Yeah.
social, right?
It's a good way to
I
put
don't know
it.
how to translate it to English, but you get the point, right? So it's a fact in the universe that we attract what we are. 95% of what we experience on this realm of reality, no social skills, Dala. Thank you. Let's take it that way. They're not very bad, but most of them have no social skills in our eyes. They might think it's different, but anyway, the military and what the government and all these projects that Emery was working in, that I was working in a different way as a governance expert. These projects attract certain beings that are very much on the same alignment. So the Greys typically are very involved with governments, very involved with military, very involved because they have a hierarchy in their system, and they look for these groups on planets and they contact them and they try to work with them. They also attract very, very much these other humanoid beings because there are other species out there, or other civilizations, let's put it that way, that have very much the same genetics as humans on planet Earth. So they look very much like humans. Emery can tell a lot of stories about that because you've seen some. It was on the podcast. If you didn't see it, go to YouTube, look it up. It's funny. Your Las Vegas and New York stories. But anyway, these are typical individuals that are attracted because these projects also are standing in front of a uncountable mass of beings, and they look for allies, which is a typical thing that the universe in diversity does. And these allies usually are like beings that are either offering you something very 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 precious, or there are beings these are beings that are very similar to you, alike in some kind of way. So these are the typical ET non-terrestrial beings that they work with. Do you want to add something to that, Emery?
No, no. I mean, they're definitely working with the governments. I mean, hands down, you put it perfectly. You of all people know that. I mean, that's your mainstay. There's governance-ship. So I think you know that's always going to be like that. And like you said, the hierarchy is a whole nother show. But it definitely is, 100% accurate.
Oh, Tanya is asking, Emery, can you speak on the so-called soul trap? I also have some information on that, but Emery, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Tim will have a little bit more information. We don't call them soul traps. We just, what happens is, there's two kinds. You have the walk-ins, and then you have the human who is the newbie who accidentally, killed a bunch of people and had death by suicide, by cop suicide we call it, they have to get come back and do it again. They have to recycle. They're not ready yet, and they learn each time. For some souls it takes a little bit longer. Then you have walk-in souls. So there's souls that will have a walk-in ET or another entity. The soul that was in there is just there, but it's dormant, and it didn't move on yet. It still has to be attached to the body a little bit, but this other entity is now this person. And then when that entity's soul dies, then both of those souls leave the shell and usually either have a choice to come back or recycle, depending on the circumstances. Some have walk-ins because some ETs decide to take over, a mass murder and get it over with and make sure they get killed. Some let things play out and they have their own agendas. So I hope that's what you mean. Tim, you want to go? And
Yeah, absolutely.
we don't call it soul traps. The cycle is, by sometimes it isn't given by a choice. It's just that it just happens.
Yeah. Again, referring to all the people who are in the Ticket to Ride course already, because we really talk about that in depth. But there is a malevolent installation on this planet, which goes back thousands and thousands of years, and it's been put up onto Earth, and a lot of the negative effects that people are experiencing on this Earth are coming from exactly that. The reason for that is because Terran humans, have one of the highest evolutionary potentials. That means that they can evolve very, very rapidly and in a very, very spiritual and holistic, beautiful way if someone lets them. That causes, of course, some kind of jealousy, some kind of it's a risk factor to some other beings. So what they did thousands of years ago, when the humans were all still in baby state, they installed a lot of different mechanics that will keep Earth in a certain cycle of self-destruction. That is, for example, altering the genetics. It's installing certain things like school systems where people with children, small children, are taught against their nature to be sitting still, and mostly damaging their backbone because they are sitting there for 8 hours straight, which is just not great. And probably Emery can go into the details of why that is not good, but the thing about this is that it's a multifaceted, very smart installation on this planet. And in this course, Ticket to Ride, we tackle that, and we tell you all the intel and insights. It's 3 months. It's a very intense course. I know some people are here. If you want to share some of your experiences, put them into the chat. People will benefit from that. Long story short, is that it also happens in the fourth level of reality, which is the afterlife. So what people will experience there is such a thing like a fake sun. So they have a technology that looks like a sun, and when beings, which are human beings, are not at all trained of going into the afterlife, dying, all they get information from is like movies and religions, and people are always told one thing, right, which is go into the light, right? Go into the light for no freaking reason. Reality behind that is whoever infiltrated that told humans to go into the light because there is a fake portal that looks like a light, and souls, because they have no idea what's happening with them when they finally wake up and they are dead, pun intended, they go into that light, and it's a portal. It's a redirection portal, so they get directly back thrown onto Earth. So whoever, if you're interested in tackling that and avoiding that, we have a whole 3-month course on that. It's called Ticket to Ride. I'm probably going to post stuff about that on my Instagram, and I think we have a website. I can post it. But anyway, that is the so-called soul trap. And if you know how to do it, it's actually, it only involves those beings that are like very, very confused and don't know what to do, and then listen to themselves hearing over and over, go into the light, and then they will turn directly back to Earth, and the stuff is going on again. I was almost swearing. Did you hear that, Emery?
I know. I've never heard you swear before. That's another ticket back to the light if you do that. Watch it now.
That's not true.
Nobody gets my jokes. I'm such a dork. Okay, so
I mean,
okay, can you yeah, go
thanks,
ahead.
Haley. Anyway, we got some. I think we are almost at the end of this 2-hour webinar,
Yeah,
but
I'm going to answer this one last thing from
let's do some more
Mary,
questions.
because you
Emery,
and
go
I,
ahead.
couple more questions here before we hang it up, guys, because Tim and I both agree on this question. We've answered this many times. Mary asked, any updates on the likelihood and timing of the false flag events that Randy Kramer and Michael Salla have projected? Okay, well, that is definitely a scenario that can happen. 100% can happen. Just like an asteroid can hit us, World War III, is on the brink here. However, my gut feeling, and I know because I know all the technology they have to make millions of craft look like they're in the air, release everything from Pine Gap that they've been growing and up in Los Alamos and Area 51 to make it look like these are real extraterrestrials, but they're not. I disagree. I believe that if it started to happen or right before it's about to happen, that our extraterrestrials are great, beautiful extraterrestrials that are here, and on the planet and also off planet would intervene. I think they would treat that as a nuclear war and they would intervene. I can't see them allowing a fake, attack go full fruition. And you, Tim, and I had this conversation many times with many different shows. Please tell me what you think about my opinion there.
It's absolutely 100% right. And as much as I appreciate what Randy does, I think this episode was absolutely not a good idea to spread that, because it's also putting in it. It almost acts as if it's like a war tactic per se in itself. So the Germans looked a lot into this scenario, and they did like so much research on that. The thing about this is there's two things about that. It is the highest potential that this could go out of hand very, very rapidly. The plans of a fake invasion come from a time in the 60s, 1960s. So they are old, very old. And we have new data on how the world acts and reacts, because there used to be some fake moments in history, right? And people have seen what that causes and how it goes, right? So a fake invasion would cause a lot of a certain syndrome, an invader syndrome, which will cause a lot of panic and will probably get the planet into a realm, a possibility of what is called a quantum explosion, which would be breaking reality. And not only people would be affected on this planet, but everyone inside of the reality field of Earth would be affected. So it's not a good idea. It's a bad idea. And then also all the ATs, just as much as you said that, we know that there are emergency plans, and these beings are just on the line. They wait for, if that ever would occur or happen, they would be immediately here and they would rescue people. I know that there some of these plans, we've looked into that. Some of these beings made us aware that especially those ET crafts that have a certain whiter outer glow should be like trusted, because there might be re-engineered crafts and fake crafts and so on. So all of this is already there and it's happening. I mean, these plans are in place. So it's probably very, 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 very unlikely that a false invasion is going to happen. What could be happening and probably will be happening are like fake events that could be here and there. And I don't have intel on that. It's only speculation, but I feel like placing shadowy beings like that into a Miami mall, which is a very unusual
Yeah,
location,
right.
seems to be part of this fake event invasion thing that could be spreaded somewhere just to, sprinkle some of that stuff
Right.
here and there.
Well, it's fear-based too, Tim, like you were talking about earlier. If you were to see, if you did see, let's say, something that portrayed to be an ET, and you had this horrific feeling, because most of the fake ETs they make are also psionically trained. So if you felt evil or scared, you would feel that way around a really extraterrestrial. So you can know your gut feeling. You can do a gut check real quick, say, man, I'm scared. I don't like this thing. And that means it's not real and it's going to cause harm or something. I think I had a question here. I got to answer it real quick. Who was it? Was it Leah? I think Leah. Leah was wondering about, it's Cosmic Disclosure is my show I host for Gaia TV. I don't always get to pick like who comes, there. I mean, of course, I know Richard Doty and David Adair and Clifford Stone because we're all military people. That's my background. But every now and then, Gaia brings me people like Tim and other people that I don't know, where they really came from. So I do interview them. Doesn't mean I always agree with who I'm interviewing. And a lot of people can pick up on that with some of my past interviews with certain people without naming names. How many times have I asked questions on Cosmic Disclosure that you guys already know by watching the first, 12 seasons, that I already know the answers to those questions. So there's this thing of I'm not, used to being an interviewer. I don't think I'm the greatest interviewer, but, I definitely have the terminology and experience to interview people like Tim and others to ask the right questions. I just want everyone to know that, because people see, oh, well, Emery has so-and-so on, his show. And so I work for Gaia TV. I'm a contractor for Gaia TV, and they are the ones who set everything up and edit everything up and bring me, interesting people to interview. So I had to say that because some people here were asking about that.
Absolutely. And I know this episode especially, it caused a lot of harm in a way that people, on spiritual people, right? Gaia people are reaching out to Gaia because they want to be informed, and they want to work on themselves. They want to look forward. They have enough of the false information and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that Randy Kramer is on purpose doing that. The thing about this is that all of us, right? No. But all of us, we are all on the forefront of a spiritual revolution, right? And it's a win-win situation for all that are involved. But there are also some groups in the background that try to talk. They are talking for their position in this. So sometimes when someone like Randy gets information and just spreads them like he did, he might be used in some kind of way. And people that are very spiritual and watch this and suddenly take this in as a possibility, that will influence tiny bits of their the probability of it happening in their lives, right? So if you reject that and say like, no, I'm going with all shift happily now, because that is, we are creators of the timeline we decide on, and we go with these multiple ETs, and we go with what Emery stands for, and these other world-renowned speakers, the good people, not saying Randy isn't, but some of the information might be harmful sometimes.
Exactly. It's not that I'm taking sides with anyone or saying that you're a bullshit artist. I have a gut feeling about something, and I have my own opinions too, just like you guys have your opinions with me and Tim. So there are a lot of people always asking about the people I interview, but I'm not going to sit there. You'll never see me talk bad about anyone, because there's always a possibility, because anything can really happen. I just don't have that experience. So I can't say, of course I've heard some batshit crazy things in my interviews from many different people. And what I say is I just can't relate to that, because I never had that experience. I never had a 20M back, or I've never seen that object you're talking about. However, with a lot of interviews, I mean, most of them, there is definitely a correlation when they're talking about equipment, or they're talking about portals, or they're talking about, how extraterrestrials act. And then I know they're telling the truth. But for all of you, what you all need to do is just really, if you're going to start making judgment calls on people, it's not about judging. It's about listening with your heart. And a lot of you said, well, I just didn't feel right about that. You know what? You're right then. So I'm glad you're doing that. Don't think about it. Don't try to dissect it. How'd that make you feel? And go with that feeling, whether it's good or bad, and then be your own judgment. Be your own terrorist negotiator, everyone. I got to teach that class again. You guys love that.
What's that? TSEC class?
I said I used to teach the terrorist negotiation class. I did it one year, and it's all about deception, art of deception, and it was really fun to do because people really like that stuff. Because there's so much fake stuff out there on the media that anyone can be taken. If you hear it enough, when they keep repeating, people start getting in that. Oh, it must be true because CNN said it, even Fox said it, and someone's online talking about it. And it's not like that. One of the best advices my dad told me before he died was, don't believe anything you hear, don't believe anything you read, and only believe maybe a quarter of what you see. And I didn't know what that meant until I went through the projects. And when they made a 3D holographic image of a car next to me, and I walked into the building, and the scientist was showing it to me, and I was like, he goes, I just want you to check out this car. It's an interesting car. There's something special about it. Had no idea this was a test or a joke. And I walked up to it. I was like, oh, wow, that's a interesting car. Yeah. And he's like, I said, well, tell me the story. And I'm standing right next to it. He goes, well, touch it. So I went like this, and they were able to concentrate atoms, and it felt like just a little push against my hand, just a slight gentle push, and my hand went right through it. And I was like, oh my, unbelievable. And it faked me out just with that. And that was way back in 1990. So imagine what they have now. So you can't really believe the videos or TVs of things in the sky or whatever. It's very rare ETs are going to show themselves. And that's why the Tic Tac was so obvious, right? Anymore.
No, I said in the US American Mall.
Yeah, especially in the mall. Maybe there's a sale on Louis Vuitton. I don't know. It might be, Randy told me that they're, shipping, barrels of, beer is a big exchange up there. I don't know. There's a lot of embargo with many different things. But yeah, Tim, we're just joking. But I want to really thank you, Tim, for being on here. But Tim, how can people get a hold of you, and how can they sign up for these meditations and your podcasts and stuff?
Thank you so much. So my number one, social media platform is on Instagram and YouTube. I'm not on Facebook. I know you are, and many other people are, but I'm not on Facebook. I am on Instagram, and I am on YouTube. Tim.Tactics on Instagram, and Tim Tactical in one word on YouTube. That's also where you can see Emery on the podcast, and hopefully soon again. We do a monthly meditation. It's free for everyone. It's just there so that we can connect and get the energy right. So if there's only one thing you want to do in this lifetime to help, just go there and join us. We do it in 2024. We do it on every 24th of this year. It's going to be an interesting Christmas this year. I didn't think about that, but anyway, that's how it is. We have another Ticket to Ride course in February. It starts again where we just have a 3-month intense course on people with people. We guide them through a lot of the intel. We tell them how the installation works. We have a signature audio tool which is meant to bring your atoms into vibration. It's helping people a ton. It's beautiful. And other than that, here and there are other projects that we're working on. So whatever level you are on, we try to get you covered. So just, follow me, hit me up
Tim,
on TikTok.
Tim, if you could type that in the audience message thing, your contact information, so everyone can see it. And then on another note, Tim, someone made me this shirt.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
It's a Cosmic Disclosure shirt. So I'm going to send you one. And
that's amazing.
Put it closer to the camera.
Hilarious?
Emery, put it closer. Yeah, there you go.
I can't see here.
Oh, that is so cool.
So they also made a Cosmic Disclosure one. But if you guys want this shirt, just write in. You can write into Cosmic Market 3. I don't have it on the website yet, but Cosmic Market 3 at Gmail. Say, hey, I want that T-shirt. They also made another one. Hold on.
See, guys, T-shirts are very, very important.
I thought it was cute. You know, Tim and I don't wear T-shirts, but no. There's another one. Does it say Cosmic something on it? No? Let me see. But David Campbell made a nice one. Yeah, it says Cosmic here. But David Campbell made a really nice one. I don't know if David Campbell's listening. I hope he is. And you can go to the Cosmic Disclosure Fan Club on Facebook. Tim, did you see that with David Campbell?
Yeah, he asked me if he can do a T-shirt with me.
Yeah, he wants to do a T-shirt with you. So let him do it. It'll be funny. And so, yes, guys. So that's it. Thank you. EmerySmith.co, Cosmic Market. You can check out. If you have any questions on any of the stuff we have on there, please check it out. We do have another webinar coming up next week with David Adair and Paul Moeller, the inventor of the air car. David and I are really big fans of his since we were kids because he was the guy on Popular Mechanics talking about his air car. Check out paulmoeller.com because his air cars are amazing. And we're going to go talk about that all next week, same time, same back channel. Register for that. It's not up yet, but Darcy's going to throw it up there shortly in the next couple of days. This replay will be available hopefully in a couple of days. Darcy's going to work on it. And I'm trying to think of anything else. Thank you guys once again. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Darla. Thank you, Darcy. Thank you, R2B2 and Lily and all you guys. We really appreciate. Without you guys, we couldn't make this happen. So
our replay will be available immediately, unless I need to edit, but I don't think I do.
Oh, great! No, it's pretty good. We don't have to cut.
Yeah.
And someone in the community, please send me a video clip of Emery saying he loves Tim. I'm going to post it.
And that'll also be available at Tim Tactics.
Over and over.
Yes,
there's going to be. You're so welcome, Tim. There's going to be a meme about it, I'm sure.
I'm sure too. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Ciao, ciao.